turn my camera off and then I'll let y'all get to it.
Do me a favor and mute yourself, just in case.
Mute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Favor and mute yourself.
Never.
I am joined by Mr. Ádám Kovács, the CEO of Karate Combat, the first real full contact karate promotion. Ádám, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Eddie?
I'm doing well. Thank you for
I'm
asking.
not CEO though. I'm not CEO.
No?
Someone punch me in the face. Yeah, I'm the league president.
League president. What's the difference between a president and a CEO?
I mean, I don't know. It's
the same, right?
It's a title thing, but I'm focused on the sport, and a CEO is usually focused more on the entire company or things along those lines. And like we became a DAO, a decentralized league, so we don't have such a thing as a CEO, to be honest. We have some supplier companies where we have these roles, and we do have CEOs of those companies.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm focused on the sports stuff.
So there really is a distinct difference. Good to
Yeah.
know. I did not know that. Well, it's not very often that the president of a fight promotion is actually also a competitor, especially one as decorated of a champion as you. So for you, having that kind of competition experience, how do you think are some of the ways that that has helped you running a fight promotion?
That's a great question, Eddie. I think I can think as a fighter, so I've been on both sides of the table. So I think that's a big difference, because I know what we put our fighters or what they have to go through, like when entering the pit or preparing for a fight, or even, just negotiating a deal. I've been on both sides, and, I think that I've got empathy for the fighters, and because I've been there, done that. And although I retired 10 years ago exactly, back in 2013 from karate, since then, I've been doing BJJ. I just had a training this morning as well, which I enjoyed a lot. But again, it is something I'm not only looking at from outside, but I'm doing it a little bit as well. And I read something on Instagram the other day, just scrolling, like infinite scrolling, and someone said that only people should say whatever they are talking about who actually done it in a way. So I know that you practice BJJ as well, so that's why I bring it up, and I think it helps the fighters, and I understand both sides.
A karate combat jiu-jitsu tournament sounds fantastic in my personal opinion. I definitely wouldn't.
You're not the first one who suggested that we should have some BJJ in the pit. And I won't say no, but right now we're focused on striking and karate, but who knows what the future brings.
And I mean, it's come a long way. I was there in 2018 for Karate Combat 1 Inception in Miami. I remember meeting you out there. And to this day, I don't think there is an event like it. It's still, it has this elegant undertone to it. Like, it's not a bunch of belligerent, bloodthirsty fans just acting crazy. It's people dressed to the nines, pit side, shoulder to shoulder with, martial arts superstars. It's people networking, and there just so happens to be world-class fights going on at the same time. Can you speak on that model and how important it is for KC to maintain that vibe?
I think it is because we come from a lot of different space when it comes to the KC management and the owners and partners, and some of those guys are coming from Wall Street, so they've got a network over there. I'm coming from the fight work, I've got a network from there, and I think what we do really well is mixing different worlds. And like, I'm in business, and fighting was always something which mixed really well. But again, for example, bringing up crypto and our karate token, that is something we're doing right now, mixing a little bit the crypto world with the sports world. And I think we're doing a good job with that as well, although some people thought that this was impossible a few years ago. But we're doing it in a way where it's very much user friendly, and the same way as with our events, where, you know, like everybody's a VIP, no matter if, you know,
Right.
you bought a ticket for $50 or $500, you always feel that you are right there at the action. And I think it makes us unique. And, you know, when the sport grows, there are some things which you can't control. So I cannot, you know, like promise that this will last forever.
Sure.
But, you know, in the last couple of live shows we did in Orlando and in Miami, we really kept it small, intimate, and whoever decided to come out or were there, they left as a happy person.
Yeah, I can attest because I was there. So I 100% can attest to that. But you know, you got to keep growing, so you don't know what the future holds. But right now, you're keeping the talent rolling in. You got this Kumite series rolling out. It's essentially you have amateurs can come and compete for a chance at a contract, an actual karate combat contract. Can you kind of speak to the evolution of this and kind of how long it took for it to actually get in place? The 10th of August, that is the
Correct.
premiere, right?
This Thursday. This Thursday is the premiere of the first Kumite. We had this idea of something of a, you know, a combination of the Ultimate Fighter, the Contender series, Cobra Kai, and, you know, like everything what people like, you know, to put it together, but in the pit, and something which is a toned down version of our live shows. Something where, you know, like we just throw everything out which people like, because people love the virtual environment and people love our sets. But, you know, sometimes it's good to simplify things, and this is what we've done with the Kumite. And, you know, whoever tunes in, and I hope many people will tune in on Thursday and then every Thursday in August to watch the Kumite, we did something where we gave an opportunity for fighters to come and show who they are. We selected 14 fighters in 3 different weight classes. We are doing mini tournaments, so these guys are gonna fight more than once not in one day, because like we're doing an episodic way when we're gonna air this, but we did tape it in one day and they had to fight 2 or 3 times. The Kumite is something where we explore ideas, new ideas. The Kumite right now is something where we introduced the amateur rule set, but the Kumite is not about an amateur tournament, right? So in this first one, it's more like the American Idol, so it's more of a talent show.
Mm-hmm.
And we're introducing the amateur rule set. But maybe the first one's gonna be like Bloodsport, you know, like maybe we're just gonna paint the now yellow Kumite logo to red, and it's gonna be something where only pro fighters can enter, also for a karate combat contract. Or we might just do country against country, or a gym versus gym, you know, Cobra Kai style, or we might just have celebrities fighting. So like we could do stuff which we're almost unable to do on the live show, or maybe we just have one fight on a live show. But over here, I think we can just explore new ideas and actually experiment with new stuff. And I think it turned out really well with this first one. You know, we've got a great jury, Bas, Rutan, Samuel Eriksson, and myself. You know, you cannot go wrong with this trio. So I think it turned out well. We've got Ben Davis as our play-by-play. We've got Ross Levine, our middleweight champion, as the color commentator. And also that's why I'm excited about the Kumite, because we can test things out and we don't necessarily have to do it on the big live show. And, you know, that was something the commentary team, you know, like we didn't want to have Bas and Josh Palmer and, you know, maybe GSP and these guys commentate the Kumite, because we wanna develop talent, not only fighters but also, you know, on camera talent. And I think it's really great, the fights, the way it looks, you know, the cool
yeah, the sleeveless. So I mean,
geese.
I got the pleasure of sitting in for the taping, so I'm not spoiling anything. But the sleeveless Cobra Kai style geese, whose idea was that?
So I mean, it was like everything we do, it's almost like never like one person. It's never me, right? But it's also never the other guy. So it's always a collaborative group work. And you know, like specifically with that one, so we initially wanted to have full uniforms, because especially with the amateurs, we said like, okay, all the amateur tournaments are in a full gi in karate. So this could be something interesting. But we said then the Kumite is not an amateur rule set, or not going to be all the time amateur rule set, but also the vibe of the full gi maybe is not what we're looking for. I showed it around, and we got the feedback, and they said like, okay, this is not the vibe we're looking for. And I said like, we don't want to go the same as we do on the big pro events, but we also don't want to do, you know, like super amateur like you would see on a tournament. So
in the main show, you just have the gi bottoms and the belts.
Exactly, because you know, back in the days when we decided to go that way was because we wanted to showcase how our fighters, how good they are, not only while they fight, but how good they look. You know, like they're super lean. You know, I don't think you can show too many organizations where the fighters look so good. You know, like whenever a karate fighter comes out, everybody's like, oh my God, this dude looks like really good.
No, they all look like models.
Exactly. And I think we were like, okay, what's between the two? And we said like, dude, like Street Fighter, Cobra Kai. Or I Googled online. I said like, okay, what does this look like? And we said like, listen, it's easy. We already got the gis, so let's just cut those sleeves off and see how it looks.
Awesome. I like it. I think it's a pretty cool touch. Well, for anyone that wants to try out, how can they go about filling out the application or getting involved? How can people try to get into the Kumite?
Yeah, so this first one was a pilot event we did, and you said like how long did it take to put together? And I said, you know, like back in the days, 2018, we already had the idea, but we never had the time. We wanted to focus on the main show, on the pro league. But to be honest, we put this together in like 2 weeks. The Kumite, you know, like we came up with the idea. Wow. We said like, we've got the venue in Miami where we had the pit there between the two shows. We said like, how can we leverage that it's already there and all the equipment and gear? And we said, you know, like instead of doing it between the two shows, why don't we just do it right after KC40, when all the crew, internal crew, production crew, and everybody's there, and then get the fighters there. So like what they had to do is submit a video and an application, what we had on our website. And we had, you know, dozens of applications coming in. Some were like really good, some were like funny, some were not so good. And then we chose the 14 guys, and it was great because they showed up, you know, like, because I was worried in the beginning that, you know, people will say that, yeah, I'm gonna come, but because, you know, like this is amateur, we could not pay anybody to come, right? The only thing we could give is like, okay, this is a platform. If you ever want to fight in karate combat, then maybe this is your shot to show who you are, and maybe, you know, become the next superstar.
Yeah, amateur fighting is a whole different ballgame. You think pro fights don't pan out, man. Amateur cards will be like 30 fights deep, and then only 10 by actual fight night.
Once, sorry to cut you off. Once we had this, we already tried back in LA 2019. We said like, okay, we're gonna do a trial, like right before the event, 2 days before. We invited people to come for like an open training session, where we had our matchmaker and some other people, you know, look at these guys to see. And I tell you, 30 people registered. You tell me how many showed up.
Maybe 4.
One.
Yeah.
One showed up, you know, like, and that, you know, it was Alberto Ramirez, who's still, you know, under contract with us and had 4 fights with us. But, you know, that's why I was a bit worried, although that was in the beginning of our journey. And now we're, you know, like 3 years or 4 years in since then. And I think we've done a lot with season 2, 3, and then season 4, and then the live shows. But I was a little bit worried that what happens if these guys don't show up. But the team did a great job, you know, like putting these guys together. You know, we were on the phone, and, you know, it was difficult because everybody, including us, is focusing on KC40, which is a huge event. You know, Agayev versus Quayhagen, the first, like
one of the greatest fights I've ever seen.
Exactly. At the same time, like staying there and doing another, I don't know how many fights we put together on the next day. That was a big challenge.
Yeah, but you pulled it off. So kudos and hats off to that.
Like you'll see, I really enjoyed putting together because it's live to tape. So, like we had a little time to put together the whole show, but I think it turned out really well and people are going to enjoy it.
Man, KC40 was so nuts. And the fight was so great. And just being able to be pit side, I don't think there's any event where you can be closer without having to participate. Like
yes.
That's probably as close as it could be, man. Agayev is such a stud. How soon do you want to get him back out there?
I think he's going under surgery now these days with his hand. He kept a few seminars in South America. Now he's going to have surgery. He wants to be back around December or, around that time frame, maybe beginning of the year. But he want to be back. He want to defend that title. And, it's so great to see him because I just mentioned it to somebody that he never fought full contact before he stepped into the pit. Just imagine this, right? Like, I mean, you're a non-contact or semi-contact, whatever you call it, amateur Olympic athlete, the GOAT over there. He won like 5 or 6 world championships, 10 times European championships. But this is a completely different world, right? So, but it's a different world, but the same animal. He's a beast, like when he goes in, he doesn't care. He's a fighter. He's not just like, sometimes you would have amateur karate fighters who you would think of like, can these guys fight actually in a street fight or when it's like actual full contact?
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Rafael Agayev, I mean, like the guy was made for this.
Yeah, no kidding. He's a beast. He's definitely a beast. Well, for Karate Combat, what's next for you guys? What events do you have on the horizon?
So we've been not only focusing on a Kumite in the last couple of weeks, but also focusing on the next chapter or at least the next couple of months. And we've been exploring, new locations and, like we're very close of the official announcement. I think we had some soft announcements already on Twitter. So like we're looking at the middle of September of our next live show. And the exact venue, I cannot disclose right now, but we're going to the Dominican Republic.
Oh, cool. The DR. That's
the
exciting.
DR, and, like that's how small the league is. The amount of Dominican fighters we have from day one is relatively, we've got Davis Ferreras, Jorge Perez, Dionisio Gustavo, and many more fighters. And, I don't think there's too many fighters from the Dominican Republic. When you look at MMA, you've got a few who are living in the US, for example, or, were born in the Dominican. So that was one of the reasons why we decided DR. There's a lot of upsides as well going there. And, the rest of the year and how the schedule will look like, we'll announce that very soon as well.
How difficult is it to take your show on the road and go abroad like this? I mean, because you have your own unique set, so what is it like having to facilitate moving your whole operation to another country, essentially?
It's super challenging. But we're also, I think one of the reasons why we grew in such an aggressive, way in the last couple of years, because we're open-minded and we're ready to change things up. So, right now we've got a few ideas, even in DR or, moving forward for the next couple of events, but we're not married to one thing. So I'm not guaranteeing that you will see the virtual environment for the next show, but I'm guaranteeing that whatever we do is gonna be a really, really cool shit.
Yeah. The inaugural event, Inception, Karate Combat 1, there was no virtual anything. We were outside on shipping containers like Street Fighter. Yeah. And yachts pulling up and all the fighters came out in Maseratis, Ferraris. I mean, you name it. It was nuts. So yeah, the virtual thing, it's cool, but it's you've done it without before.
Correct. So I think something where, you have this, you can move back to that and then move to another location, depending on, like how the business model, makes sense for us as well. It's much easier now to bounce back and forth with already understanding how the whole technology works, than just, the last couple of years when we were kind of like, nobody did a multi-camera virtual environment sporting event ever. So like, I don't think we get enough credit for that, because, like this is, I like to say it's not the Weather Channel where you've got one camera, a green screen behind somebody, right, and then that person walks maybe, 1-2 meters here or there, right? So we've got 7 cameras, we've got fighters fighting, we've got the referee, we've got the audience, so we've got so many elements. It's so difficult. And we were doing these shows live to tape with a huge green screen back in Budapest, and then we moved to the US to the backlot of Universal Studios, and then with a huge LED and giving the same experience online and on TV, but also on site to the audience. And then we moved to Miami and we eliminated the LED, so we don't even have that, but on TV you still see the virtual environment. So it's like we hacked the system, I think, and but also put something in, maybe our next location is gonna be crazy, the whole venue, and you won't be able to say like, is this even real? These guys are just doing virtual environment, or like this is in real life.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I've been singing the praises of the production value of Karate Combat from day one. It's really through the roof. I wish more and not just promotions, just everybody would just pour more emphasis on the production value, like the finished product and the polish. It needs to be enhanced everywhere else too. So shout out to you guys for leading the way, I'll say in that. So Karate Combat 40, you had Luke Rockhold come in and commentate. How close are we to seeing Luke Rockhold versus Lyoto Machida in the Karate Combat pit?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to make it. I never. This was never a secret. How close we are, we'll see. We'll see, man. Like we have to get out with the Kumite. Now we're focused on that, and then the next couple of events. We're friends with Luke. Friends with Lyoto, we're always talking, like what would make the most sense. If that exact fight happens or not, I don't know right now, but something in the near future will blow everyone's mind.
What about a video game for Karate Combat? Has there been any talks of pumping out a video game? I think that'd be pretty sick.
A lot of people want to see the karate, like it's right there in front. Everybody said like, you guys should do one. I think, we had the whole idea of being decentralized and becoming the token hold, like a league governed by the token holders. And also another element we wanted is people to build on top of what we do, right? Feel that it is something which belongs to them as well, which they kind of own. And so I think with the video game, I see we did a few NFT projects where like we were not involved at all. We just basically let those companies or those folks use our IP. And I think with the video game right now, we're so much focused on the fights and the events that I think the best thing would be if someone else would start building out a video game, and then we would share like if it makes some money, we would share the money, but like we don't necessarily have that on our priority list.
Understandable. Well, give me your prognostication. 10 years down the line, what does Karate Combat look like?
Dude, I don't even know what's gonna happen in 10 days. This league, if you would see behind the scenes, like the last couple of years, and actually September 15th or around the 20th is gonna be my 6th year, and I was basically the first guy who partnered up with these guys, to build a sport. It's been a roller coaster, and it's so hard, to run something like this. and ups and downs, and you know, a lot of uncertainty. You know, where's the next show, when is the next show, you know, how money goes in, out, you know, new sponsors, new TV deals, you know, like we drop a token, airdrops, so many things going on. So right now it's super difficult to say what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And also because I would say, you know, I'm really focused on the sport. You know, some of, you know, my partners are really focused on crypto, also on the business side. So like if you ask me, I would like to have this as one of the biggest striking league out there, something similar what K1 did back in Japan, when you had like all these huge events, when all the fighters were superstars, and you know, like it was the pinnacle of striking and kickboxing. So I think if we could get there, where all the great strikers and stand-up fighters home is KC, then I think that's the vision over here. And then yeah, it just like go like Formula One, you know, go with the events globally everywhere, and have a pit stop, you know, like with the experience of the paddock, and
that's clever.
Do something like that. We always thought of that, but it's never a straight line, you know. So I think we have to live the next day, you know, like, because it's very stressful, and you know, again, it's you never know. But we're surrounded with smart people, we're hard workers, the fighters are awesome, and you know, like people want to fight with us, which is great. So I think we've got a bright future.
And the product's there, right? At the end of the day, it's all about the product, and I mean, it's there. So how can people follow this journey? How can people follow Karate Combat? What's your social media handles?
Yeah, so I think almost everywhere it's Karate Combat. So when you go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you know, it's Karate Combat. You cannot miss it. You know, it's we're out there. I don't think that anybody who likes fighting sports, combat sports, you know, you met Karate Combat already. It's already in there. Maybe you don't know yet, but you know, like it's gonna be very soon where there's gonna be a tipping point when everybody's like, yeah, Karate Combat was always here, you know, like, of course, Karate Combat, yeah, I know about that. So go online, like search Karate Combat, and the first thing which comes up is probably us.
Well, Mr. Ádám Kovács, thank you so much for taking out the time to speak with me. And thank you for putting out such a refreshing product. There's so much chaos in the fight world. So it's nice when someone is doing things differently. So I wish you guys nothing but the utmost success.
Thank you, Eddie. And, you know, like, thank you as well for covering us and, you know, coming out and being a great partner for us, you know, like to spread the word, because this is very important. And I think a lot of times people, you know, turn away from us because it's not MMA, and you know, like these days MMA, or not even pro boxing, but celebrity boxing is something which makes, you know, all the headlines and the clicks. But you know, like we won't forget who is with us since day one, and it's good to have you, and thank you for having our backs.
Oh, much appreciated. I will talk with you soon.
All right, thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.